Hi, this is video 9. It's important to understand that a lot of these ideas I'm going to go into on these videos are, it's very critical that the other things have to come into play too. If you take them as an isolated thing and we don't do all the other things, then they don't look so well. As a group, they'll work fine. A lot of people would argue, like if we get rid of all these government positions, we're going to have all these out-of-work people, but they don't take into account the other things that I'm going to talk to later on, or I've touched on briefly, but I'm talking later on where these people will be able to find jobs and why they'll be able to find jobs. For example, just quick examples, we're still going to need teachers. We would still need tax attorneys. If we break up our banking system, all these out-of-work tax attorneys will be able to get work with the as jobs with the competing banks, because the banks will be competing for our business. So rather than these tax attorneys spending all their time trying to figure out ways to rip off the little guy with the confusing tax system, they'll be spending their time figuring out ways, these accountants will figure out ways how to be competitive with the competing bank. So there's a lot you have to take into account that, yeah, I'm closing down a job over here, but I'm opening up another job over here in a different, they're much better, actually, jobs than being forced to work for the government. And they're pretty good ideas. But anyway, if we unmonopolize the Federal Reserve, that's going to double the size of our banking system. So so this competing bank, at least double the size of our banking system. So you're gonna have all these people. You're gonna have this whole new business really that are going to need all these accountants and all these people. All these jobs are going to open up because we're just double the size of our banking system. So a lot of these ideas taken individually sound really bad, but when you look at the big picture, it works pretty good. And if you spent enough time to actually make it this far, I'm doing a fairly good job of presenting it to where I'm making it come across trying to make sense how it'll work. Either that or you already knew this. The next thing I'm going to tell you about, a lot of people are going to disagree with, but the thing is you have to understand is that if we go through with the rest of the plans that I'm doing, in other words, increasing the penalties for real crimes, where if people, if you're violent criminals will be punished much more severely, as well as also if we get our freedom back, America's mental health will come back. And, we have a lot of issues right now, but a lot of these issues a lot of this violent crime is actually because of the drug war. We get rid of the drug war, we'll see a huge drop in violent crime. Plus, people will get our mental health back because people will just feel more free. If people in a free country are better mental health. And so it's critical for you to understand that in order for these ideas to work is that the other ideas have to come and understand that the other ideas have to be put into play, and America has serious mental health issues because of all this government intrusion, and this has made Americans sick and not self-reliant at all. And so if we can get back to trusting ourselves again, then our mental health will come back. And just to sum it all up, there's another mala prohibita thing that I want to go into now, and that's there's a mala prohibita law prohibiting the right to possess certain firearms, and this is mala prohibita. There's no actual victim in the case when you're talking about possessing a gun. That's a mala prohibita law. There's no injury. There's no victim. There's no injury if somebody is just carrying a firearm around. And this is mala prohibita. As a matter of fact, the guy who mentored me through this, that was his number one issue. That was his thing that he was arguing with these issues, was his Second Amendment right. He was a big-time Second Amendment person. He's the guy who mentored me through this. And I personally, I think, and personally, I don't feel the need myself to own a gun. But personally, well, actually now I do. But I haven't up until very recently, and it's mainly just to protect myself from the government. But personally, I think that everybody would be a lot nicer to each other if everybody carried guns. As things are now, practically the only people that have guns are the cops and the criminals. They're the only ones that have guns, and the criminals know this. I do not believe in Hollywood's version of the Old West. I think it seems to me like we have more gun battles now with gun prohibition in LA. We have more gun battles in LA in one day, I think, than probably the entire than all the gun battles were ever fought in the Old West. I think the Old West, they glamorize it. They specifically, they focus in on that, but I don't think that the Old West was nearly as violent as what we have in South Central LA. In just one day, and this is with gun laws, and this is with all the the permits and the concealed weapons and all these things that we have. We still have all this crime. Gun laws. It seems to me like I think that probably that I think that I hear conflicting statistics about the gun ownership and gun crime and gun violent crime, and I think we're being lied to. I think gun laws are, well, I know gun laws are unconstitutional. There is no victim and there is no injury. And I know people that have spent years, like this guy who mentored me through this, arguing his right to bear arms, and his treatment just really tells me that we're being lied to. And I think it's just a lot of it's government propaganda. I really do. And I believe that a lot of people, there's going to be a lot less people that are going to be willing to try and rob my grandmother if she's got an assault rifle with her when she goes down to the grocery store. Long live Ted Nugent. I have a lot of friends that claim a spiritual high top. That state that people who carry guns, a lot of the spiritual people, that say, well, people that carry guns are afraid, but it really seems to me like the spiritual people are afraid of those that carry guns. Now, I can still not carry a gun around, and all these people could carry a gun around. Now, that to me is true trust in God. The way things are now, though, I really can't blame people for not wanting all these people to have guns, because we have a lot of mentally ill people out there. So I can't really blame people for wanting the gun control now. But a lot of this, again, is because of the government intrusion. But right now, the only people that have the guns are the criminals. Period, really. And if I tell you, if I walk down to the store tomorrow and every person I saw had a pistol by his side, I think I would feel safer. It makes it a lot more difficult to rob and murder someone if you're surrounded by people that you don't know that have guns all the time. I could still walk around without a gun. It's not like you have to carry a gun. We don't have to make a law that you have to carry a gun. But, I could still walk around with a gun. That's true trust in God, and not be afraid of death. And the truth is that we're still, I don't believe the statistics. I don't believe the statistics, and I don't believe the gun control's working. And this I think that the parents should teach their children about guns right from the beginning. Again, this is the job of the parents, not the government. And sometimes the parents might fall short in their responsibility, but that's rather than taking this isolated. I know that it does happen that kids sometimes shoot each other and stuff like that. But what happens is okay, this little girl gets shot, which is a terrible thing. But then the government wants to just take everybody's guns away from us, and they use this one incident to take everybody's guns away from us. It doesn't sit well with me at all. It's the parents' responsibility. They were definitely negligent. Tragedies are going to happen, but we're taking everybody's guns away from them is not right. If everybody had guns, I can't say that necessarily crime is going to go down or up, but I think that people will feel more free in this country, and that they've actually got a little bit more of their rights. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, and then a lot of people are also going to agree with me. And I think that we, having TV shows on gun safety and stuff like that, will help out a lot. And I think there's better ways to handle it rather than just banning it. I think that the bottom line, I remember watching one of Michael Moore's shows where he was talking with this guy that was talking about his right to bear arms, and Michael asked him, well, does that, right to bear arms can mean nuclear weapons? Do you think that, you should have the right to carry nuclear weapons? Well, the answer to that question is that you have companies like Blackwater, for example. Now, this is a corporate company. This is a corporation made up of people, these corporate guys at the very top, okay? Rich people at the very top. Now, they're allowed to have these weapons, but because they're a corporation, these Blackwater guys and these other guys, they're rich, basically, but they're still people. They're still individuals at the end of this corporation, and these people have access to all kinds of military weapons and so on and so forth. But if you're going to give that corporation if we ban guns for individuals, but we allow guns for but we're going to go ahead and let the corporations arm themselves, then the people have no defense against corporations like Blackwater, and eventually these Walmarts and stuff like that, they're already developing their own security force, and they're basically extraterritorialism. When you step onto Walmart property, you're basically subject to their rules. Same thing with all these other corporations. They have their own private security force. I really think that it is in the individual's best interest to allow us to have guns. And if my neighbor had a nuke, I don't think I'd mind. I really don't. If they're smart enough to build a nuke, they're probably smart enough to know how to handle it. So I do think that if Blackwater is going to be allowed to have tanks and planes and all this other stuff, then it's only fair that I should be allowed to have it too, because there's really no difference between me and Blackwater. Blackwater is just a group of rich people. Just a group of rich people that just happen to have enough money to be able to afford it. Well, they don't really have any oversight, so to speak of. So if they're going to be allowed to not have any oversight, I think it's only fair that we should be able to protect ourselves from these people, because there's nothing from stopping these people from abusing this privilege that they've been given, or I'm going to call it a privilege because I'm not exactly sure why they have this privilege and I don't, but they do have this privilege, and to give them that privilege and not me leaves me defenseless, and I'm not able to protect myself if these thugs decide that they don't like my politics. And I think that a lot of that has been going on, actually. I think that a lot of people I'm certain I'm not certain that it's specifically Blackwater, but I do know that a lot of these private security forces have hassled me because of my politics, and I should have the right to be able to defend myself against these people. And me carrying a gun around, they might back off a little bit more. So I think that all these laws about concealed weapons and all this stuff, this is all mal and prohibit a law, and I think that. I know a lot, and then on the other hand, I know a lot of you people are going to definitely like to hear how to argue that in court, and that's what I'm going to talk about on the next video. Is I'm going to go back into the how to argue malum prohibita and malians. I actually already have done it, and this is like a little video I'm slipping in because I wanted to get in this little nugget of information before I go into the next one, because the next one I'm going to talk more. I'm going to repeat myself a lot about how to handle these malum prohibita laws, because I know a lot of you guys are strong supporters of the Second Amendment, and this is an argument that somebody right now is actually serving prison time over, and is working on his appeal, and I'm helping him right now. So this is going on, and this is a malum prohibita law, and I believe the Second Amendment right to bear arms is a right that's worth fighting for. So I'll catch you on the next video.